Hey, kids, Bowl. This time we got a friend to talk to us. Let's go.
Oh my. It is Friday, December 30th, 2022 at 3:01 p.m. in the eastern part of the country. It is time for the Orange Bowl pregame edition of the Very Orange live stream. I am your
The only
co-host,
part
Mr.
that
Produce
counts.
Wiley, alongside my co-host sidekick
Young Brandon here
and
with
our
our very
guest.
special guest.
Live from Tater Man Studios, it's the Tater Man himself, Mikey.
All right.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. Glad to have you. I'd like to give a good shout out to the fine folks at Premier Protein who help make my keep me healthy and help make my weight loss possible. Like Playboy Buddy Rose, I am a slim, trim, 215 pounds. Except this ain't no gimmick. It works. But anyway, to the matter at hand. In about 5 hours, the Vols will be kicking off with the itty bitty takers.
Some tiger team
Clemson.
from some place.
Yeah.
Who can remember?
Yeah, right.
That as Lewis Cassar, that Auburn with a lake.
Auburn with a lake, indeed. It is a lovely lake too.
I'll give you that.
If you're on the visitor side in the stands up in the top deck, that view looking back across the baseball field over Little John at the lake, and it's gorgeous. It's just absolutely beautiful. And for us cretins like myself that can't afford good tickets, that's the only view we ever get. Because even those on row U are $220 a pop. So,
of course, if you had a real football stadium, all you'd be able to see is focus on the stadium because it's enclosed.
Yeah,
with 106,000 of your best friends.
Well, if you can get over the smell of the body farm, I guess it's all right. Not so bad.
It's on the other side of the river, asshole. Anyway.
Yeah. So there you
go. I love the smell of a body farm in the morning.
Yep.
All right, so
and on that note,
let's get down to brass tacks. Who we got missing? Who's playing? Where are we at?
Well, Mikey, you're the guest. You go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, for us, we've got a couple of third tier wide receivers that are transferring. Our third tier starting quarterback has transferred. Kobe Pace is our third or fourth in rotation running back is in the portal. Then, as far as quitters, Miles Murphy and Simpson, the linebacker.
Let me just take a timeout as this has crossed my brain for the first time many times. You know what would be great? Are you familiar with he played for about 6 or 7 teams, including Clemson. Charlie Whitehurst. Clipboard Jesus.
Mhm.
You'll see where I'm going with this, surely. I wish there was a Charlie Whitehurst II that would be on Clemson. And that way, Dabo Sweeney's little speech would come to fruition in real life.
Yes, and the NIL conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure that went over well with our backup tight end who happens to be Jewish, and our backup running back that's Muslim. There you go.
My wife used to always speak so fondly of Charlie Whitehurst. She actually, when she lived in Alpharetta, he lived up the street from her.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, I don't know how well how well that holds up these days, but yeah, there you go.
Well, I think he was a Centennial High School, I want to say.
I think well he might have been, I don't know, but he definitely, I mean, Alpharetta's, and it may have been Alpharetta because Shannon lived in a lot of different places around Atlanta, but they were neighbors at one point. I do know.
Yeah. No, it's all the same sidewalk anyway in that part of the Metroplex. So, but yeah, so we've got 2 defensive starters who have quit, and we have our should have been starting quarterback all year that will be starting. So that's good. I mean, I really despise the fact that Hooker was injured, obviously, and then now with Hyatt and Tillman quitting, like even if we win this game, it's you beat the 5th best iteration of the team we could put on the field or something like that.
But if we win this game, y'all lost to our 5th. There's the double. There's the other side.
And that's true.
I don't know. I don't know that Tillman plays. Even if let's say Tillman doesn't go ahead and do the opt out, I don't know that Tillman would play anyway. I don't think he had the Tua type of success with that ripcord surgery on his ankle. I don't know that it did as well. Now, granted, a wide receiver getting that surgery versus getting a quarterback getting it, how much more stress the wide receiver with all the cuts and all the sudden stops and things like that is going to affect that. But I don't know that Tillman plays, and I'm not mad at those guys. Tillman's been hurt. Tillman not playing is, but Brandon's giving me the hold up sign, so I'm gonna hold up.
Stop right there. Let's explain what you're talking about, Sir Tater of the Kingdom of Taterness. Borrow that if you like.
No.
As far as quitting, let's go back and just be absolutely 100% clear what you're talking about for those watching.
You signed on to play for your team for a season, and the bowl game is included in that season. And just because maybe you can't win a national championship, then you're not going to play. I don't care how much money you might potentially cost yourself in the draft if you get injured in the game. If you're not going to play, if you're going to opt out, then I don't think you have the right to use Clemson's football facilities to train in. I don't think you have the right to go to their pro day. I think that every person that does make that contribution to those facilities at Clemson, it's the IPTAY program, the I pay 10 a year thing. I think they should be disappointed in that. And I think they have every right to say no. I think your teammates should be disappointed in that. And, obviously it's a next man up thing. So step up. But the thing is, these people that are quitting are the ones that got you there in the first place. They are quite often the stars of the program. And it just shows that they have no character for the program. Their education or their years there don't mean anything because they don't care enough about the team in its last game, in their last game, to put forth the effort to help that team win.
And I think that's I guess, a sound argument. I do. I also
Well, here's my. I can see 1,000% where you're coming from with that, and it's not that I'm disagreeing. However, the other side of that could possibly be some bullshit like we see in the NFL where they have the Pro Bowl and guys are only putting like half a little hit on somebody and this and that.
Well, here's the difference in that. The Pro Bowl is, and to my knowledge, always has been an exhibition game. These college bowl games are not exhibition. They are the dream matchups. These are the matchups that you would not see because of the old. It's changing a little bit now because of the old conference setups. Like these were the teams that you would never see play one another in the regular season. You're finally getting a chance to see. Well, I mean, right now Maryland and NC State are playing. They used to be in the same conference as one another, so that's not really a good example. But like you might see Clemson and Tennessee play once every 40 years. Have they even ever played one another before? Like I don't remember. But okay. But like that's what the bowl games were. And, between profit sharing that you get, from those things, I don't like, I know a lot of the guys in our chat are very adamant about how, well, it could cost them millions of dollars as a professional and saying, fine, I get that. I personally do not enjoy NFL football, so I really could not care less in that regard.
Yeah. Well, and mind, I'm not attacking you or your view. Yeah. I can see. I'm just kind of little devil's advocate.
So, to a little offshoot to answer Mikey's question, we have Clemson and Tennessee have played each other 19 times.
Okay.
Since 1901. With Tennessee holding an edge of 11 wins to 6 losses and with 2 ties.
Okay.
The last game that the two teams played against each other was the 04 Peach Bowl, which Clemson won 24-7.
Oh yeah, I do remember that game.
Or excuse me, take it back, 27-14.
27-14.
I misread that.
Yeah, because that was the first. I
knew I couldn't remember the ball game. It was the last.
Yeah, that was the first of 3 consecutive Peach Bowls, I believe, that we had.
Probably.
Yeah.
Also, if you're watching, if you'd like to come and join us, StreamYard's right below down there, and we'd love to talk to you.
Also, if you're in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, and
I got a story to tell you about this.
You are in need of a shaver trim, go check out our friend Max the Barber at Pike Barbershop, 4602 Kingston Pike. Hopefully Max will be joining us later on today.
I stopped at Buc-ee's in Calhoun, Georgia, and I noticed quite a few Tennessee shirts and hats and stuff on people there, and I happened to talk to somebody, and they were from Knoxville, and I said, you know what? If you ever need a haircut, you need to go to Pike's Barbershop. Our buddy Max, the upright.
Yep.
That's the honest to God's truth.
He gets kind of offended when I cover his workout, but I gotta look the part.
Someone like
Speaking of which, is that him calling?
No, it is not.
Anyway, I mean, Mikey, I completely get where you're coming from in terms of the argument. Especially, I think it's especially pretty heinous when you've got a program that has enjoyed the era of stability that Clemson has had. Mm-hmm. With us, I'm not saying it's more understandable. The fact that some of these guys hung in as long as they did here at Tennessee, I'm amazed Tillman stayed. Honestly,
right.
after the way Pruitt, because under the Pruitt administration, Tillman was the bastard at the family reunion. Okay, he just was not used at all. So
And let's not forget that no one involved in this conversation is egregious as like Bosa was at Ohio State a few years ago. He like quit after the third game.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody on our side. I don't think there's anybody being here that's been overly mercenary. They're saying that, look, we got to go. I mean, it's like we're not going to get a better chance. So especially in Hyatt, in Hyatt's case, I mean, he's got a family to take care of, and a lot of these guys are in a situation where, they didn't grow up with, with much of anything economically, came from good families, but families didn't have anything, and they've got people they want to take care of. Not everybody grew up in relative comfort. They're not a they're not a Peyton Manning. They're not a Peyton Manning. They're not a Josh Dobbs.
It's not a question of that for me. I want to say you get hurt and you drop from first round to the second round. I know the signing bonus is enormous, but in the ultimate scheme of things, like the amount of money that you're going to make either way is life changing. And
that's true.
And that's the thing that gets me. And say you're a high likelihood of being like a second round draft pick, and you go out and you ball out in your bowl game and you pick all 5 balls, or you sacks, or you rush for 300 yards or whatever, and you go from being a second round pick to a first round pick. That's the thing that, like, it's not so much that I have a problem with people saying, I'm not going to do this already at. It's the people that aren't willing to go on the journey to either potentially better themselves. That's what gets me, is like the guys that aren't guaranteed to be that top 10 draft pick, top 15, whatever the case may be. And when they could go out and play with their hair on fire and I graduated high school from a guy that was a terrible baseball player, or with a guy that was a terrible baseball player. And he got a tryout with the Cincinnati Reds based off one playoff game that they had a scout watching a player on the other team. And he didn't make it. I mean, he did not make any of the squads or anything like that, but still, like, nobody ever would have guessed that guy would have gotten a tryout with a junior college baseball team, let alone the Cincinnati Reds. So, you have to make the most of every opportunity that you're given in life, I think. And, you're given an opportunity. Some of these guys, me being a Clemson fan, you guys being a Tennessee fan, the SEC, like the mainstream media coverage is there. Like Tennessee's had several games on ESPN, CBS, ABC, ESPN, whatever, with Clemson. Some of these guys that play for teams that don't get that mainstream coverage, that are opting out, are losing their opportunity to be seen on ESPN. Or
that is a very good point. I think of teams like Coastal Carolina or places like that. Even Cincinnati, as far as they've come, it's not like they're showing them on network television every weekend.
It's just like last night. I would venture to guess 80% of America got their first look at Penix for Washington. In their game, he didn't look all that great, but still, he was. He was.
He still managed to get the win. I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah. And I think he threw for almost 500 yards. So he was. I don't even think he threw for 3.
Somebody he threw the ball 50 times, but I think he had like 260, 270, something like that. It wasn't a gaudy amount, and he did enough to get him over the hump.
Somebody threw for 500 yesterday. I can't remember.
Who didn't get him over the hump? One Jackson Dart.
Anywho, so going back, we're talking about who Clemson lost. Let's talk about, obviously the two.
No, Brandon.
The more gimmicks you got to bring, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll always celebrate a Ole Miss loss
with of course, Tillman and Hyatt out. We're still strong at receiver. We still have McCoy, and we still have Ramel Keaton, and we still have Squirrel White, and you'll probably see Chaz Nimrod get a few touches. The question always becomes is which Joe Milton we're going to see. Are we going to see Joe Milton matriculating the ball down the field, or is Bazooka Joe going to show up and start throwing the ball from Miami to Naples? You're gonna see some balls flying over the Tamiami Trail tonight. I don't know. So that's always a question. Offensive line, we should be okay. Darnell Wright is going to the NFL, but he opted to play, which is always appreciated.
Have you gentlemen seen the Joe Milton throw an orange down the field video?
It's
I haven't. No.
Let me check out for just a second.
I actually saw some place. I think it may have been the Duke game. But were they actually, instead of doing RPOs, they did PROs? Yeah. Instead of run pass options, pass run options.
Yeah.
Where if you don't get the ball out of your hand in like 2 seconds, you take off with it. And Joe Milton is a better runner than Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
He's a different runner than Hendon Hooker. He's every bit as fast, but Milton is a good 30 pounds heavier than Hooker, and he's a lot harder to bring down. So I really hope they put they mix a lot of the quarterback run into the game tonight, because I think that'll take a lot of pressure off of Joe to be able to need to throw, and hope they tell him, say, look, if it's not there, don't force it. If you've got daylight, go.
Yeah.
You're 6'5", 250. Run the fucking ball.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of way I look at it.
And that'll be one of the situations.
Yeah, he's a beast.
That'll be one of the situations where Miles Murphy is definitely missed too, on the edge, just kind of setting that edge for the stopping the quarterback run. But
defensively, we're going to be okay. We really hadn't had any major opt-outs on the defensive side of the ball. Byron Young's going to play. Still waiting to see what he's already said he's going pro, but that's fine. He's a senior. Jeremy Banks.
I just read the other day that Young was going to stay at Tennessee.
I think he's going. I think he's going. Jeremy Banks is opted out and says he's going pro. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's addition by subtraction. That's going to put a lot more on Juwan Mitchell, and might get to see a kid that I'm really, really high on, Elijah Herring. Get to play in the middle a little bit. True freshman. The kid's majority of his tackles are actually sacks this year, so he's done a lot of mop up work. But hopefully we'll get to see him play. Tim Banks is really, really high on Elijah Herring. We're looking forward to his little brother coming in next year, the number one defensive player in the state of Tennessee, recruiting. And we'll see. Hopefully, Joe does okay. A little shaky behind him. I mean, Gaston Moore has played okay. I would personally rather see Taven Jackson, but I don't know that Taven's completely healed from that shoulder injury that he got earlier in the season.
Yeah, I don't.
He's listed as a number 2 on the depth chart behind Milton. Too bad we can't have Nico on there, but hey, it is what it is.
He's been practicing with him. Yeah. He's been with the team.
But we've also had some big boosts to our defense as far as guys who say they're going to stay. Omari Thomas has been a big player in that D line for us this year. He's staying. Aaron Beasley, starting linebacker, is staying. Tank McCullough, staying. So a lot of key pieces, especially the defensive backfield that has severely underperformed this year. That at one point I really thought necessitated maybe a change on the defensive leadership on the coaching side, but that didn't happen, obviously, for whatever reason. It is what it is at this point.
All right. Speaking of coaching, have you heard anything about replacing certain coaches on a Tiger football team?
I know that there are quite a few people in Tigerland that are not very happy with our current offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that was undue. Direction wise, I think that should have been more of a why is DJ Uyunglele still our starting quarterback? Because we have to run this Mickey Mouse offensive scheme with him playing quarterback. I think it depends on what you see with Cole, not Cole Klubnik. I keep calling it Cade Klubnik tonight. See what the scheme looks like. If they're running the same plays that failed with DJ and they're not getting much better with Klubnik, then okay, maybe we have an issue there. If they're able to expand the plays a little bit more, and it looks better that way, then I think that you can kind of revert to see that the issue at hand was not the coordinator in as much as it was the quarterback, and in turn, coming from the painfully loyal head coach that we have. That's kind of how I feel about that. Let's see what it looks like tonight. Second full game with Klubnik starting, and see where we're at the end of that. And maybe I can give you a better answer when we do the post game, whenever that may be.
Yeah, I think for both teams, this is going to be a big tone setter for next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I haven't heard a single word about who we're getting as an offensive coordinator.
I think it's going to be Joey Hazel. Unless that, I mean, here are two things that it's either going to be Hype is going to take over play calling, which wouldn't take over play calling and name somebody else the coordinator, which wouldn't surprise me. He probably he probably does a lot of the play calling anyway. Although I've never had that verified. There are sort of kind of rumors floating around that we might be losing Jerry Mack to our running backs coach to a head coaching job somewhere. I mean, he has been a head coach before. He was head coach at North Carolina Central a few years back before he came here. So there's a possibility.
You know who should be our running backs coach if that happens? One name I'm thinking of.
I would get Jay Graham.
Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis is right.
Yeah, I mean,
that is the name I was thinking of. Put Jamal.
I don't know he would be eligible to be hired by the University of Tennessee. Man, it's got a felony on his record.
Well,
so I mean, yeah, okay, yeah.
Does a felony, does that keep you from getting hired as a coach?
It might. It might.
Because I know there's some pretty shifty coaches out there.
I know. But how many coaching candidates can you see get that high profile school who have done time in the federal pen for drug trafficking? No, don't get me wrong. Jamal Lewis, one of the best we ever had. Okay, shit the bed, big time. Ruined what could have been a Hall of Fame pro football career. Okay. I mean, I'd honestly go back to Jay Graham. He's still in Knoxville.
Jay Graham still is in Knoxville.
He's got that Pruitt staff stigma on him, but I don't know that Jay necessarily was involved of any of that Michigas. And because he's still pretty high profile. I mean, he's been.
Did you just say Michigas?
High school football.
He did say Michigas.
I don't know if he'd been implicated in
Shabbat
that.
shalom,
if you have that
friend.
Job. Huh?
I said Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
friend.
shalom. Yeah, Michigas. I threw that out there.
Anywho.
So I would probably go back to I'd probably go back to Jay Graham. I mean, if you're going to elevate somebody, I mean, it's going to be Joey Hazel would probably be your QB coach. Is probably going to be one person I would look at. Personally, we might you might go. They might go out and grab somebody. An interesting choice that somebody brought up is George Quarles, the coach at East Tennessee State.
I have heard that name.
Who was for years one of the. I mean, who's made his way quickly up through the ranks. He was. I mean, Maryville High School has been a power in 6A in the state of Tennessee for decades now, and he had a really good run there, and ended up getting hired. I think as the OC at Furman. And then was really successful there, and then ended up taking it when Randy Sanders retired at East Tennessee. He ended up taking that job.
You know, you're not allowed to say Randy Sanders on this show.
I have
you're not allowed to say Randy Sanders.
So therefore, I can forgive Randy Sanders. Okay.
What about if not Jamal?
No, you're not allowed to say Randy Sanders on this show.
What about Travis Henry?
Hey, Travis Henry. Also a great.
No felonies on his regard.
He's tried to talk, but he said, Randy, you know what?
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the deal. If you go with Jamal Lewis, he doesn't even have to change his costume when he comes to work. He just comes off the bus. He's already in colors. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
They have
I was going to say Travis Henry, when he was about to be drafted, had my favorite scouting report of any running back. I don't know who the scout was who wrote this, but he said trying to tackle Travis Henry was like trying to tackle a bowling ball rolling downhill with swords sticking out of it. I love that.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got CJ Spiller as our backs coach right now. So,
hey, go get Cadillac.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Or hell, we'll take him if.
I mean, if I were gonna, but Jay Graham, who's still one of the top 2 or 3 leading rushers in Tennessee history. I can't remember what the. I would. That's where I would go back to, because Graham's a good position coach. Ask Jimbo about Jay Graham, because Jay Graham was his running backs coach during his heyday at Florida State. So
is that what we're calling Jimbo's time at Florida State a heyday? That's a bit of a stretch, I think.
Well, pre-divorce.
It was a day.
Yeah.
Pre-divorce.
There may have been some hay involved, but
yeah.
We've
been going for about half an hour. Do we want to go ahead and get some picks in? Do we want to?
Let me tell a Jimbo story real quick, okay?
Go right ahead. You're loving
Jimbo on.
I've got a friend of mine that is he's a physician at Shands at University of Florida now. He's a neurologist, and he was when he just finished medical school. He was working as a hospitalist at Bainbridge Memorial, where I worked at, and he lived at Silver Eagle in Tallahassee, or Golden Eagle, excuse me, which is a exclusive country club situation. So he goes in and he buys this house, setting everything up, goes outside, got the flagpole out front. First day, he's hoisting up his colors, and he's a Gator. He graduated from UF with his undergrad and everything. So he's hoisting up his Gator flag in the front yard, and he looks across the yard, and at the house across from him, Jimbo Fisher's walking out, getting his mail out of the box, and he's like, "Oh, okay, good to see you." So yeah,
that's a funny story.
But let's do some picks. Sounds great.
All right. I really didn't have anything picks.
Let's pick our game. Let's pick our game. Let's pick the semifinals and call it a day.
Okay.
So right now, the ESPN matchup predictor actually has Tennessee at 57 to 43% favorite, although Clemson is still picked by 4. The over under 61 points. I'd probably take the over on that.
I think that would be a wise choice on the over under part. I'm showing 5.5 on mine, but I may not be looking at the same.
I'm looking at ESPN right now. It's ESPN has it plus as a +4.
+4, okay.
Four spread consensus picks 4.5. I of course I gotta do my ride or die. I'm gonna take my boys. I think this is gonna be a close game, and I think it's gonna come down to a field goal at the end, and I really hope Chase McGrath has gotten over some of the issues he's had this season. He occasionally had the yips.
Well, I mean, now that we know that goalpost is not going to be extra wide like the one in the Alabama game.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'll go next. Obviously, I'm going to go with my Orange boys.
The orange and purple. Get it right. Make sure you add the purple in there.
Purple.
Orange and regalia, sir. Regalia.
You set him up for that, didn't you? You had to set him up for that.
Yeah.
He has corrected us when we said purple every single time with regalia.
Because it's not purple.
It's regalia, and I'm patting you on the head right now.
Just like Virginia is not blue and orange, they are blue and Jeffersonian red. So there you go.
Well, it's just like I tell people, it ain't just orange. It's Pantone 151.
Right. Yeah. I think we're like
Pantone 151.
Pantone 151. Damn it.
I used to know what the hex code was for for Clemson orange. It's like FF63421 or something like that. But, that's not it. I just threw that out off the top of my head.
See, that's the difference between us, the Field of Streamers, and you all. We have football issues.
Yes. This is our therapy. This is how we deal with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I think that if this is a close game, I think Tennessee wins. If Clemson comes out and just swings for the fences from the start, it could get out of hand very quickly. Because with the way our adversary, Mr. Rattler, did, I think that Klubnik has got a game plan from that, and if he can attack some of those defensive backs like Spencer Rattler did, it's going to be that kind of game. I wholeheartely believe that. But I suspect that may not be entirely the case. But a 10-point win would not surprise me. But with that being said, a 20 to 30-point win might not either.
Okay. I don't have too much to add. I mean, it's time. I'm disappointed that, like Mikey and the quitter scenario kind of bugs the living shit out of me. We'll see what we got. Whoa.
It's me.
Just
Sorry, I had to go off camera for a
disappeared.
second. I'll be back.
There he goes again.
Yeah, he said he had to go off camera for a second. So
Oh, all right. I thought that was the second.
No, that was me. I had to drop out there for a second.
All right.
It's when family life trumps streaming.
I understand.
Actually, it's the hemorrhoids.
It's better than vomit. Have to clean it up.
all right.
I'm dying to see what we do next year. I'm already in that mode. And that's saying a lot for us Tennessee fans that, 10-2 being a disappointment. I will take being there anytime. We'll see what the Vols can do. If Milton can hone it in a little bit with that arm, he can certainly run. He's a lot to handle when he does run. Big guy. I picked the Vols, of course. I'm not going to all of a sudden be a convert to the Clemson faithful. So let's talk about what were the other games you guys want to talk about? TCU.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and give you like my two. I'm going to go probably foolishly, but I'm going to go with the Frogs and the Dogs, and we're going to have a Frog Dog championship game.
I desperately want TCU to win that game. I really do, because I think TCU gives Georgia a few matchup nightmares that nobody else does. I mean, Georgia. We all know Georgia can play the blunt object against blunt object game. Okay, we know that. We've seen it already many times this year. So yeah, and
So
they can also play. We've also seen that they can play a finesse game. I mean, look at what they did to us. So,
are you also frog dogging it?
I don't. I think TCU is going to hang in there. I just don't see them being able to hold up to that relentless pounding they're going to take from Michigan.
Yeah,
Michigan's going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. They're going to keep hitting that brick wall, and eventually they're going to go down. So I'm going to say it's going to be it's going to be Georgia and Michigan with basically a repeat of last year's semis.
Yeah. Even though they keep winning, and they'll have what to me looks like a fluke play every now and then where they gain some yards or something. I don't think they can overcome Michigan. I think Michigan's actually good this year.
I thought they were actually good last year.
See, I didn't think they were actually that great last year.
I don't think they're not. I don't think they're Georgia good, but I think they're good.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're Georgia good, but I think they're better than they were last year. I mean, even though that kid was what did he get? Third place, second place for the Heisman?
Who, Duggar or Duggan?
Yeah.
Duggan. Yeah.
Max, yeah.
Who was third?
Duggan.
We're
going to have the Mid-South argument. Is it Duggan or Duggan?
Yeah.
Hacksaw Max Duggan. Is that the? Yeah. Oh.
Yes. I don't see them getting over Michigan. I think it's going to be Michigan and the Dogs as well. If I'm wrong, so be it. But
I'm fairly
I damn
certain.
sure don't think Ohio State's going to beat Georgia.
I'm fairly certain that I'm going to be wrong on TCU, but that's who I want. That's what I want to see, and
Okay.
that's what I'm picking with.
All right. I mean, maybe there's something there I just don't see. Like I've got some kind of tunnel vision when I watch them play.
I truthfully, I don't see it either, but I'm still going with them.
I got you. You're an underdog rooting champion, except when they play Georgia.
Some score updates for those who want to know. Maryland's up on NC State 16-12, about 2.5 left in the game.
About to punt.
Come on, State. I think I picked State.
UCLA is up 21.
What is your allegiance to Georgia?
I will cheer for them in every game they play unless they're playing Clemson.
So fairly strong. Strong.
Absolutely.
I
mean, they're my home team, quite frankly. Not that has a whole lot to do with it. I just I'm not going to call myself a dog, but I do have some dog T-shirts, and I've got a dog cap, and I've got some things for.
And you got dog family, so.
Yeah, I've got dog family, but I've also got Seminole family, and
this conversation is taking some kind of strange turn.
Oh, Maryland just picked it off, and that's going to ice the game right there.
Yep. All right, fellas. Well, I'm going to depart this little soiree. So
I thought you might be out.
We'll be go Vols, beat Clemson, and I'll catch y'all's asses on the flip side.
All right.
Go Vols.
Go Tigers. Fight, Tigers, fight, Tigers, fight, fight, fight.
Oh, and on that note, we're out.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Good luck. Enjoy the game.
Bye.